What's going on, guys? Sam Adams here, and late last night my time at about 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Bethesda held their E3 2017 press conference that was somewhat lackluster in the opinions of myself and a lot of other people that both attended and watched online, but there were still a lot of games that were talked about and some big announcements, so let's go ahead and start breaking it down. Now, the first thing we need to talk about is a big push for virtual reality in two of Bethesda's biggest franchises, which are Fallout and Doom. Now, they aren't necessarily brand new VR games, but pretty much just virtual reality options for the games that we already have, being Fallout 4 and the Doom that came out in 2016. Now, for Fallout 4, the VR option is pretty much just being able to play the entirety of Fallout 4 in a VR headset, which is a pretty impressive feat in and of itself. However, if you think about Fallout 4, it's going to work well, but whenever you do get into a hectic fight where you really do need to be able to control your character and know what you are doing, it is definitely going to take some time within the VR headset to really get that down pat, and for at least the first couple of hours, it's going to be disorienting for a lot of people, and for some people like myself, it may just be disorienting for the entire experience, depending on how you play Fallout. Now, if you do like to scope out a settlement and take out everything that you see and then go in and do whatever objective you have to do, then there you go, you can do that fairly well in VR, but if you just like to rush in and run and gun, things might be a little bit hairier for you. Taking that into account, just exploring the wasteland and also customizing your own settlement is something that sounds like it's going to be fantastic in a VR headset, and I am excited to see how that works out in the long run. Now, for Doom VR, it's actually called Doom VFR, which stands for Virtual Reality. You know how that goes. That's their thing, you know, you get the BFG and all of that good stuff. But anyways, it's pretty much a semi-on-the-rails shooter version of Doom 2016. And what I mean by this is that you can pretty much select where you want your character to go, and then whenever you do get to that specific location, all of the monsters that are rushing at you appear to be coming at you in slow motion, so it's more so just showing off the gore effects in a VR headset rather than actually playing through the game and being attentive to a campaign, so to speak, like you would in the normal version of Doom. In my opinion, Doom as a franchise thrives on the running and gunning that you get throughout the entire franchise, and to put that as a VR on-the-rails shooter-esque experience, I know it's not necessarily on the rails, but that's pretty much what it feels like, it's almost sacrilegious in my mind, just because, no pun intended, just because of the way it affects the gameplay and the overall feel of the hectic nature of Doom. It's just simply not there within the trailer. Doom VFR is pretty much just a little experiment to show off what Bethesda can actually do with access to VR compatibility and capability, so it's not going to be your standard kind of Bethesda/Doom experience, and I wouldn't expect that. What I would expect, however, going off of the Fallout VR price tag of $60, is another $60 for Doom VFR. I might be wrong about that, but I have a pretty good hunch. As far as release dates for either of these projects, we know that Fallout 4 VR is coming out this fall, and there is no release date as of yet for Doom VFR. Then we saw Skyrim on the Nintendo Switch, which is definitely going to be a big deal. Now, for me, I'm not interested in this because I was never a huge fan of Skyrim to begin with. I played through it for a good many hours, but it's just not my cup of tea. But for this game to be coming to the Nintendo Switch is a big deal for a lot of people, and to be able to play a full version of Skyrim on the go is a game changer for the Switch and a game changer for the industry overall. At last night's E3 2017 conference, however, what we did see was amiibo integration that can unlock a Master Sword, a Helion Tunic, and a shield, and that's pretty much what we've seen so far. As of yet, I'm not entirely sure if we have more amiibo integration coming for Skyrim down the line. I wouldn't necessarily be surprised, but it does seem to me, in my mind, that Bethesda would be concerned about preserving the fidelity of the Skyrim experience. You know, the Zelda Tunic and whatnot isn't necessarily going to affect that, but if you want Mario in Skyrim, that's going to kind of make fun of Skyrim, and I don't know, it just seems like something Bethesda wouldn't necessarily be completely on board with. So you might see a couple of amiibo integrations, but I wouldn't be expecting the full roster right out of the gate. Also, what was shown off is some motion control integration with the Joy-Con, specifically the fact that you can pull a bow and arrow and shoot it with the Joy-Con, and also some lock-picking. And if you thought you were bad at lock-picking in the original version of the game, boy, you just wait until you have to do it with some Joy-Cons. Then we saw Dishonored Death of the Outsider, which is a standalone DLC for Dishonored 2 coming out on September the 15th. Now this is, like I said, a standalone DLC, meaning this is going to be a completely and totally separate experience from Dishonored 2. This is not a piece of downloadable content, this is just a big expansion for the game that includes a completely new story. It's essentially a brand new game. Within this game, you play as Billy Lurk, who is helping Dowd defeat the Outsider and pretty much take him down, and you can expect a pretty good story from this because of the way the original DLC for Dishonored was handled. It was a similar kind of standalone experience, and a lot of people said that it was better than the original story. So taking that into account, my hopes are high for this one, especially considering that, for me anyway, Dishonored 2 seemed to underperform both in numbers as well as through the story whenever it came out last fall, so I'm kind of hoping for more from Death of the Outsider, but we'll just have to wait and see. For those who want a terrifying game to play this coming October, on Friday the 13th, we are going to be seeing The Evil Within 2 released on the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and the PC, which is a sequel to, of course, The Evil Within, which was utterly, completely terrifying and creepy. Of course, this game is all about the jump scares and the creepy monsters and things along those lines, and you are going to be getting that, but pretty much Sebastian, the main character, has lost everything. He has the chance to get his daughter back by facing these incredible horrors that we see throughout the entirety of The Evil Within 2, and so of course he chooses to face those instead of losing his daughter forever, and that's the kind of experience you are going to be getting. The gameplay is so unsettling, so blood-curdling. I am not a big fan of this kind of thing, but I do love it whenever I do get the chance to play it, so I am excited to see how this one turns out. Again, coming out this coming October on Friday the 13th, which is an incredibly fitting date for this title. And last but not least, as far as games go, Wolfenstein 2 The New Colossus is going to be coming out on October the 27th, which is an incredibly exciting game featuring my favorite character, BJ Blazkowicz. This is, of course, the sequel to Wolfenstein The New Order, which is one of my favorite games of this generation of consoles. Because of the Nazi dystopia, the over-the-top personalities, the big explosions and gunplay, and the incredible weapons that we have at our disposal, it is just such a fantastic franchise, and I cannot wait to get my hands on Wolfenstein 2 The New Colossus in October, just because of the way the story is really pushing it to new boundaries. On top of that, after everything is over in the trailer, you see a couple of people taking out a Nazi, and one of them does slip a little bit of LSD into his mouth, and then you see this weird little fairy creature pop up, and I would love to see LSD DLC for Wolfenstein 2 The New Colossus, and that become the Nazi zombies of Wolfenstein, where you always have some kind of fun little LSD trip-esque experience where you're taking out Nazis and you're having a bad trip, and it just sounds like a good time, and I really like the concept of it overall. And the last thing that we want to talk about here is the fact that there is now going to be a Creation Club from Bethesda, which is pretty much a fancy name for paid modifications in some of Bethesda's biggest franchises. Now, unlike last year on Steam, these are not directly paid for with currency. Instead, there are going to be credits that you use to buy the mods that you want to use that are directly available to you right then and there within the game. And of course, this is across both consoles and PC as well. Now, part of me thinks this is a good thing because of the simple fact that there is going to be quality control for mods. Bethesda has direct control over what modifications get approved for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC now, so pretty much you don't have to worry about any kind of mods breaking your save, not being compatible with other mods. There is consistent quality and compatibility all the way across the board with all of the mods that are going to be paid mods available on Skyrim and Fallout. Of course, paying for it is what people aren't that happy about. Some people have mentioned that maybe the credits can be earned through interaction with Bethesda's website, or linking other accounts, or performing some kind of in-game achievement system or something along those lines. However, more than likely you are going to have to end up paying some money to get the mods that you really, really want, or are the best mods that are out there. That's just something that they're trying to put in place. Now, free modifications are still a thing, but if you think about it from the perspective of a content creator, if you can charge for something that you love doing and that you are good at doing, then you might as well go ahead and charge for it and see if you can make a living off of this. It's just kind of like an unfortunate fact that that is what most people do because it makes sense financially. In other words, you can expect some free mods, but they likely aren't going to be the highest of quality. At the end of the day, this new Creation Club has its ups and downs, but it really is up to you, the player, and me, the player, to see if this actually does pan out and become the new standard. If we don't like this, we don't have to support it. If we enjoy this kind of thing, we can choose to support it, and this can become the future of modifications. It just depends on how it really does impact the gameplay as a whole whenever it does come out later on this summer on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. And so with that, that's pretty much Bethesda's E3 2017 press conference in a nutshell. If you enjoyed this video, drop me a like down below, and let me know what you thought about the press conference yourself in the comments section, because for me, I feel like this one probably could have been canceled this year just because there weren't that many announcements, and the announcements that were made could have fit in with other press conferences like Sony, Microsoft, and maybe the PC Gamer Show. I don't know, that's just my 2 cents. But if you did want to keep up to date with all of my opinions and the E3 2017 news, be sure to click that subscribe button on my channel, click that notification bell, because I am going to be uploading stuff throughout the week and more recaps like this. But as for right now, I'm going to go check out that Wolfenstein 2 gameplay one more time, because man, that got me where it counts. But I'll talk to you soon. Peace.